Hey YouTube, thanks for stopping by. This video is a type that I have not done in a while, and that is a interview video. I don't know if you remember, but years back I did a interview with the creators of Chucky Friends to the End, the fan game, and I've been bringing the theme back, starting with the problem with the Chucky series videos, and so we're gonna combine the two. And the reason for that is there's been something happening in the Chucky prop community, and that is a situation with a company you all know by the name of NECA, if I'm saying it correctly. And we'll get into it in a minute. But first, I want to introduce our guests for today's interview. That is Mark and Iric of Moody Pudding Studios.
Hello.
So let's start from the beginning. Uh, who's behind Moody Pudding Studios now, and how did it start?
Um, Eric's always been behind Moody Pudding Studios, but he didn't really use his Instagram account at all.
I didn't really do any social media for it other than like posting on Facebook, creating a group for it. But it was like back in 2017, I think. I think I started it, and it really wasn't much. It really wasn't any, in the mainstream until I met Mark, and then he stepped on.
About a year and a half into our relationship, I felt like I could step on his toes a little bit.
He was just so much more in sync with the mainstream and like music and.
I'm the cute, he's the horror.
But like, yeah, it's I don't know, it's been successful ever since he stepped on. He really knows how to reach out, and
I love connecting with different people.
And then I love hearing about it, and then like, oh, it is nice. I could finally like meet them too. But, I'm usually behind the camera. It's not the easiest thing for me to do, but it's necessary, especially to tell our story, but also to, I want to sort of be an example for people who are in my position too, who are afraid to push themselves to do things like that. So that's another reason I'm doing this.
That's amazing. And I noticed that when I would invite people on my team to entrust them with certain tasks, that would always open the door for more success, and uh it would open the door for opportunities for more things to happen. And I'm really glad that that's the journey that y'all were placed on, to connect, be together, work together, and to bring you the success where you had now. And success does come with pros and cons, good experiences and bad experiences, as you know right now. Uh, and that's the beauty of it all. That's the beauty of it all. Um, so let's talk about your accomplishments. What's your success been like, and what are some hits and misses of that success?
I mean, a great example would be the big elephant in the room, like this whole thing with NECA. That would be like many things. That's like a learning, curve there for me, as far as like how contracts go and how people can say things and stuff.
All the business lingo.
But all the success has come from, oh my God, there's been so many people that I know that he's spoken with and reached out with, and then they'll weekly check in and say like, how are you doing? Are you okay? Like, I mean, like there's been more than just success from like within the company. We get our setbacks, and it doesn't stop us. We still push through that. But a lot of it comes from the people that he connected with, helping us push through, the bad days. And sometimes it has nothing to do with the business.
Yeah.
It's just
I get really personal. I probably shouldn't, because people think it's unprofessional, but I like having our clients and our followers understand who they're watching, and like how we work, and our mental disabilities and my physical disabilities. Like, we're pushing through. We want to show people that underdogs can do it still.
Yeah, you just got to believe in what you do. Yeah. Believe in what you do. Believe in what you work. What you're working towards, and know that that's a goal, and not it just didn't happen yet. It didn't happen yet, so just stop. Like think of that. You always got to think of that stuff as like a goal. In my opinion.
I think that there is something special about being able to see the person or the individuals behind the company rather than just seeing them as a company. Like, there's a huge difference in tone between Moody Pudding Studios and NECA. Because when you just see the company as a company making company decisions or business decisions, it comes with a certain tone where it's like everything is based off of, well, a business is a business. Uh, like the guy says in Child's Play 3,
One of the hardest things about this business is that it is a business.
like like this is a business. Like that's the curse. Like that's the blessing of it and the curse. It's a business. It has to operate a certain way, and decisions are made accordingly. Uh, but I think that you can definitely gain empathy and be understood much, much better when people can see the individuals within that. So I think that's kind of what you're getting at. Um, and so I'll put it this way. Uh, I can see you guys and understand. Like first things first, I can see that you guys are not some huge conglomerate of people for starters. Uh,
It's
operating
just
in some
us.
operating in some beehive. Yeah, it's just you two.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, now let's look at NECA. Now it's
Right.
like we see the decisions they're making, such as cease and desist. Am I allowed to use that term? Is I allowed to mention that? Have y'all spoken about that?
I mean, yeah, that's what that is. They did send us one. And again, it was one of those things where it was like,
We've been emailing you for
well, no,
months.
it just makes you feel like you're the guilty party because in one of the things it said like we are not allowed to forward it or share it. And it was like, well, I mean, and I Googled it and it said the opposite, that you're absolutely allowed to like publicly share a cease and desist if you get one. And I'm sure there's stipulations to that. I don't know. But
Right.
again, like that is what it is, and that is what happened. So, why would that, how is that not true? How is that not fact? How is that not, fine to put in public? The only time I believe that the only thing you should never do in public is put out a lie. That's the whole point.
Exactly.
So,
And so far, y'all have only spoken your truth.
Right.
right. It's been an
We're
ongoing
trying
thing.
to. Now that we have the cease and desist, it's kind of pushed us into a corner a little
No,
bit. I feel
I don't.
you feel that way.
It's I don't know how to really think about it. I don't know.
That's very complicated.
It's been hellish ever since we saw that the boxes didn't say like, do it had the proper
correct
credits
credit.
on it. Like, so ever since that point, and there's been people attached to the project as well, that it's just like it just feels like it's like a domino effect. And it's like because I presented a problem with what they ended up producing, you know, it's almost like a gaslighting feeling of I should be the one not overreacting. I should be the one not, making this a big deal. And but it absolutely is. Like this is absolutely a big deal. It might not be a big deal to somebody who is a fry cook or somebody who is working in the White House or, but to the person who did the job, it matters. Everybody knows that. Every individual felt that at some point in their lives. And, again, I mentioned this on the other podcast, but Mychal Vens was one of the artists with me at the time that worked on those dolls. And we wanted it to be where it was presented art who worked on which doll more, which artist. So my name, and it was like a little thing, but they asked how we wanted to be credited. So we showed them, and it was my name on Tiffany's, and then his name on Chucky's, and then mine of Moody Pudding Studios, sculpted by. And I just didn't think anything of that. I didn't think I was gonna one day, wake up. I didn't get any updates. I mean, I made these pieces for them, and then I sent them out. And
Then he doesn't get credited for
I
anything in
didn't.
the box.
Well, I also didn't get a single update.
That also.
I got updated when they would update their Instagram, and like I didn't hear from them in emails. I just felt, you know, like everyone says, it feels like sort of conspiracy, like it just did feel that way.
We got the same updates, we got the same updates that everyone else got, basically.
Yeah, it was really disheartening. You know, because you think you're like you know,
when you're a nobody in nowhere, Ohio, and you make something like this happen, that's a huge accomplishment for a nobody. That goes on your resume for sure. That you made a multi-million-dollar collaboration happen with NECA. That's a huge accomplishment for a sculptor.
Yeah,
and you
I
didn't even
mean,
get credited for the sculpt, and that's all you wanted.
yeah, that was the
The
other
sculpting
strange
credit.
thing is like, you know, and I even took down a few boxes that I have of NECAs, and because I love the company, like I don't have any qualms with them except with this issue. Like, what? Why? Why go this direction now? Unless this has happened before and no one knows about it. I don't know. I have no idea what NECA does. I just know what they didn't do, and I know it was promised, and I know
Emails are legally binding.
yeah, I mean, like, there's things that we looked up, like, I mean, and we have stuff together, you know, if we have to do that, but like, well, I'm just still waiting on their, you know, the ball's in their court, basically, because my response to their attorney was simply, we don't believe we're doing anything wrong, and we're going to continue telling our story as, you know, NECA has failed to, you know, do their part, do what was promised in emails. And so, you know, even talking about it feels weird because I have never been in a legal trouble situation, and it's funny because I feel like I have like like something like a target on my back because you know we just had to escape with our lives, you know, like mentally, our sanity, our last place because our friend who moved out that was renting it to us decided to sell it from underneath us and then try to invent this contract. It was a mess. It was a mess. And it was a shock to me. And so we had to do that. And luckily it was settled because I had my case. I was like, again, you tell the truth, you do what you have to do. So this is to me like a repeat of that. And I'm just like, okay, I'm just here to tell you what I think I deserve, and here are the evidence. Here's the evidence. Here are the facts. You know, and that's my piece with it. It's just I just don't feel like why I don't know why it has to be such a big deal. I don't know why this is a big deal.
Yeah, so circling back, so what you just said about, you know, you don't know what NECA does, but we can see what you guys are doing. It's like I see two people who've obviously put in a great deal of work, uh, and you know, basically the small business independents here, just doing what they can uh to make it and to make it big, to make it by however you want to put it. And then you see NECA as a company with a brand and legacy making decisions like cease and desist. And it's like in comparison, it's like this is why it is important to see you guys as individuals because we don't see what's going through NECA's brain, but we can we can only assume the worst because of what's going on, because what they're doing. Uh, and that's why it's hard to see anything good on their side about this because it's really just how can this be justified?
Right.
It
It's like
more than
it's
likely
a
can't.
negative after negative.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, so let's talk about we'll definitely get to the NECA situation and be able to hash it all out. Uh, last thing I want to ask before we dive fully into it is aspirations. What are some goals for the brand and its main focus?
Oh, I mean, that is a good question. We have so many ideas for it. My goal with the company initially was just to show pieces off and then uh just grow it like any other like toy company, you know, one day, I don't know. And after meeting and like spending time with clients, and especially after like when he picked it up, but even myself, you grow these relationships with people that you never met before over a Chucky doll. You know, Chucky, there's been so much good from Chucky from so many people, you know, that benefit from Chucky. And we are no, you know, we're no different. Um, and so like as we met these people, it grew into this idea of we want to like help too. We want to give back too. We don't want to be, we don't want someone to be in the situation we were in, you know? And we want to have the underprivileged artists hired on and pay them to make pieces under the umbrella of Moody and credited and lifted, you know, from that nowhere place that they feel they might have been. But because they were fantastic artists for that specific piece. And they should deserve that credit, you know, they deserve a window into their life for that moment.
Mhm.
And I just feeling that empathy, you know, helps you, I think, as a business person. You don't want to just grow and roll in money, you know. You want community, you want people around you, you want
security.
you want security, you want, you know, like-minded people. There's just so much more to it than going down the narrow path of greed, you know. And you know, if we get there, we know what to do with our money, you know.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful answer. So that so which leads me back into the NECA situation. How did, since this was a very you would think ideally that this would be like one of your greatest accomplishments, right? And that uh it would definitely fall under that category of big goals for the brand. So how did that collaboration start and what's happening with it now? Start with how the collaboration start.
With NECA.
Mm-hmm.
So I was with my ex at the time, and he and I were basically we knew a friend of ours at the time, or a friend of mine. Oh, our whole system's fallen over. I'm so sorry. We are literally wired over. Okay. I'm sorry. So yeah, I knew a friend who knew Randy at NECA, and they were interested in the dolls that I made for him, for my friend at the time. And I think they saw those and they wanted somebody who kind of knew the dolls or like knew the character to make it, or to make both of them. And they didn't want to do it in-house. So that was what I was told, they didn't want to do it in-house. And so they we basically waited a few months after him telling us like, hey, you know, this might be a thing. Just wait, you know, they'll email you or call us or something. And we're like, okay. So like a few months rolled by, nothing. And I think a few more months rolled by and we were like, this might not be something. But then we got the email from Randy saying that we like to turn our pieces into, you know, mass-produced pieces for the world to enjoy or something like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we are like, absolutely, that's awesome. We wait and hear from you. You know, thank God, this is so cool. And then of course we started working. What we did was we were so afraid to ask for or to give them a price for what they were going to charge, because we didn't want to scare them away, but at the same time we didn't want to shortchange ourselves and not know what it was worth, and you know, so we gave them a few options and they chose one of the options, and then we went forth with that, sculpted the pieces. You know, there's stuff that in emails that was
This is
said.
Randy you're communicating with, right?
Yes, this was Randy Falk. Yeah, he's usually on every NECA box as like the creative director or something like that. So like, yeah, but so like anyway, fast forward to, you know, broke up with my ex. We parted amicably. The NECA thing was still like sort of open because the COVID hit and everything too. So it was at a standstill. And then so when I met Mark, I was still sort of like in correspondence with them, but they weren't really emailing me back. And then, you know, one of the things that I kickstarted them, the correspondence with again, was asking them if they wanted the teeth trays for the dolls to put in, you know, so it would be a separate teeth and not part of the head.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I have those too. I just didn't think, would you like those? And Stefan at the time, I think, was dealing with us and in email. And he said, yeah, send them right in, send them right over, please give us tracking when you blah, blah, blah. I mean, you know, I was really into this and I was really working with them. And I was just thinking of ideas like, oh my God, yeah, this might be great to add to this too, or but I wouldn't get anything back. It was just like, again, like that kid that was not invited to the party sleepover, and you brought your sleeping bag and your pillow, and everyone's got these cool sleeping bags, and yours is like beat up, but you're like happy to be there. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, fast forward to now, you know, it's just gotten darker and darker, and I don't understand why. We're not even, I don't know what kind of threat we hold to them. We're just a company. We were an honest, you know, gay, you know, LGBT advocating, like we're an open company like that. So like I don't understand what threat we would cause or possess or pose, sorry, to be like shortchanged in this way.
And then be served a cease and desist
And
after not responding
again,
to many emails.
That whole point, they read our posts. They had to have, I would hope their attorney did or something.
I tagged them, so they should have.
What you would take from that, what you would read from those, and then your takeaway is a cease and desist, I would be, if I were the attorney, I would seriously consider reading back through the emails, because I don't, or even the posts.
Yeah, I think
Because
they understand the situation. I think they know what's going on. I don't think they're that. I mean, to be as successful as they are, I don't think they have bee brains working for them. It sounds like just a company with, with the power and influence doing whatever it is they think that they need to do to protect their image, and have control over the net narrative. And one thing you said that stuck out to me was you said that you weren't getting emails, but then when you mentioned something about the tea tray, then you heard back from someone, and then you said, "Oh, okay, well, how about we add this? What about this?" It's like they picked and they chose what
oh yeah,
to entertain. And when it was benefiting them, they responded. Uh, but I guess when it was more business and you guys trying to figure out how can we get on the box and all that specific things, that's when they weren't responding. Does that sound about right?
right. Yeah, it
This
was.
year.
I mean, it was anything other than, you know, do you have eye samples, or do you, you know, this and that, like stuff.
He did more than the sculpt. He sent in wig samples, patterns.
I mean, yeah, and we had a thing of
paint masters.
we told them what
and he didn't even get credit for the sculpt. It's weird.
We told them what we could and couldn't do as far as a list that they came back at us with, saying like, let us know what you can and cannot do. And there was a lot of stuff on that list. This was all apart from the sculpting. So like we listed back what we could and couldn't do. And then we sent out certain things. And again, like the teeth, in my opinion, make the doll. Like that whole deal with them being separate pieces in there. And those teeth were sent, you know, during COVID. Like that was like, as far as I remember, as far as I thought, it was just still open, like the conversation and the project.
And waiting for the contract agreement.
Yeah, it was just so strange. I don't know. I could dwell on this forever. we are constantly in a constant anxiety and trying to figure out the best way to approach this stuff. And you know,
we just hope someone sees it and is able to hold our hand a little bit.
We've done some homework and stuff. I don't want to say too much because I don't know. I mean, it's not that big a deal if NECA does watch this, but there's stuff that I want to sort of keep candid as far as like, if it did go that far, you know, I want to make sure that I have that they're not privy to this, or they wouldn't be privy to that, or I don't know. I'm literally running this like it's like a TV CSI like sitcom. Because like this, what do you do when it's the first time this has happened to you? You don't know. There's no book. So like I'm like trying to treat this like, yeah, write that down. Or no, they won't care. The judge won't be interested.
Yeah,
you know,
unless you already
trying to
have
figure out,
someone
like,
in your camp who
I don't
has
know.
experience with it, then
It's very
yeah.
stressful.
Yeah.
I guess my first specific question about the incident would be, in your own words, what was the original agreement supposed to be? What do you think you and the officials at NECA were signing up for? Like, what do you think, like on paper and indirect communication with them, what was how are things supposed to go? And so like what was the social contract like for like and I mean socially as in like what did they say? What did they definitely agree to? And because I know that you guys never actually like got a contract from them, right?
Right.
Right.
They promised it 3 times but never sent it.
Because like, yeah, I mean, it was what happened was they chose the amount that we listed, that one of the out of the 3 options, they chose one of the amounts. They sent that deposit or whatever. It was for, I think, 5. Mike, we asked for it came up to like 10 grand, and that was 5 of that was for Mike, and then 5 of that was mine. So that was obviously like directly split right down the middle. That was what we were paid in general. Like that was it. I mean,
Supplies
so
and
like,
labor.
and that's fine. That was like the part of the agreement or whatever. And
And
then
just to be clear, like so what was that going towards? Was that Mark, you said that was going to towards supplies or whatever?
Supplies and labor.
who knows? I mean,
Because
like,
in the emails they call it a deposit, so
I don't
feel
know.
like that.
The
That's
language,
just yeah.
So
the
they weren't
language.
even clear on what it was?
The lingo is weird. Like there's because they call it. There's emails that say, and in court, I know you want to be. They need to be specific because there's emails that say documents. There's emails that say papers. There's emails that say
Contracts.
There's emails that say work for hire. There's so it's like
Confusing.
it's really odd, and like because like I got my W-9, for my deposit for my half or whatever, and as we were walking forward through the rest of the project, we're like, okay, well, there was a phone call with Mike and Randy there was royalties allegedly discussed on that. I wasn't even going to begin to like argue a point for royalties because there was nothing in emails. It was all over the phone, and I didn't even speak to Randy. Mike did, and there's no way I could go back and prove that conversation. So it's just like that would be hearsay. So what I was expecting, what was promised, the credit, the way it should have been presented. I don't even care if they didn't put my name first. At this point, it was like, where are the names? Where is sculpted by? And like
They asked him how he wanted to be credited, and
I mean,
nowhere it says prototype.
yeah, I mean, we didn't make royalties. We didn't make anything like that. And then I was just hoping, Mike and I were both hoping for our names to be on those boxes. Like that was what we were like just banking on. Like that was our notoriety. That was great. That felt great. And that didn't happen. So then it was like, okay, what the? And not responding. So then I had to look back and think back, and I was like, God, this looks so much like a conspiracy. Like you dodge me here, but you talk to me there. You dodge me here, but you talk to me there.
Find a NECA box that doesn't have the sculpt credited.
They put Mychal, Vens, and Iric Fidram, Moody Pudding Studios on all the websites. Like you can go to Entertainment Earth and look up Bride of Chucky, NECA, doll. You'll see my actual prototype that I made for my friend that they used for San Diego Comic-Cons. I made those as well. So you could see like all the names listed there. You could see like the credits for everything. And I don't think anyone wasn't deserving of those credits. Everyone deserves to be on that box. But listen to my words. Everyone deserves to be on that box. Everyone worked on this project.
Right. And it
And
shouldn't
Mike,
exclude anyone. So it especially
right,
shouldn't exclude you guys.
Mychal Vens is not working with Moody, at least at the moment.
So he has 0 credit.
So, again, yeah, there's nothing there. But they can't go and put it online. They say, like, how do you want credit? And then you just slip it off on the box, but then put it on a few websites. Well, that only helps to prove the shows that backups my email that shows how we wanted to be credited on those boxes. Why we specifically put my name would be first, and his name would be second. There was no dispute about that. There was no dispute about that at all. And then they just decided to make a creative decision.
And it just didn't happen.
Yeah. So it was just, I didn't care about not getting royalties. I didn't care about all that stuff. All I cared about was like, our names are going to be there. And that also didn't happen. So it's like, you know what? Like, what what would you have someone like me do? You know what I mean? Just roll over. Like, is that what you expect? That's what these people expect. Like, how disgusting. That's
Right.
disgusting. I'm a sculptor. I'm a professional. I worked with you, the NECA. And it's like, what? I wouldn't treat a guest like that. It's disgusting. It's pathetic and it's disgusting.
And were there people who received more credit than you would say was deserved by any chance? Like, do you think that there are people who you
No.
wouldn't expect to be on the box who got on the box, but then you guys didn't?
No, I mean, again, the only reason, to me anyway, the only reason I was taken aback, and the only reason I feel like anyone would think, well, why are they on the box? Well, why are they on the box? Is because of, by comparison, my name isn't there. That's the only reason that strikes an odd atmosphere with me, is because no one deserves to not be there.
Right.
But again, why would everybody assume that the sculptor had the littlest amount to do with that project, and therefore
That credit.
you'll give them half the name, like list half a credit name, Moody Pudding, and it's like, and people will say, well, the Moody was like enough. Isn't Moody doing great? Like, I don't care if Moody is doing fantastic. This wasn't agreed on. And it wasn't right. That was our names. Those were our names. And again, if you're not working with a company anymore, there's people who are listed on boxes that might not work for them anymore. At least they have that notoriety, that credit. Mike doesn't have that, and that's, I don't know if he's fighting for his name. We don't really talk a whole lot, but again, this project, this was still fresh, and this was all that went into it. This was all the backstory. This all happened. This was all history. And so this all can be brought up and presented again and shown. Look at the gaps, or look at the patterns. And I have all that. I have all of that. It's just like, why are we going this route? It's so ridiculous. And it's hard. It's hard. And they know it's hard for us because we don't have money. We're not made of money.
All we wanted them to do was
So-
answer our emails and like talk through this, but instead of talking to us, they sent the cease and desist.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, it's just so sour, But anyway, again, well, you did ask the question. I'm sorry. Sometimes I will talk about this, like the topic, so much because it's so heavy in our lives right now.
And there's a lot of
So I forget. So I will always find a way to circle back to this. I feel like, so just stop me and cut me off if I do that.
Yeah, okay. I'm a really good listener, so it doesn't bother me at all.
Okay, thank you. But I mean, yeah, that's kind of where we're floating, like this like weird hellish purgatory. So yeah, I mean, it was just basically a correspondence over email saying, let's turn these dolls into mass-produced pieces or something like that. They sent the deposits for both me and Mike. We were able to get all the supplies together and make these pieces for them. Some of them we were like racing to get done because there was just so much to do. There was emails where they, because like there was one where they said they didn't need the full bodies, and then at some point later on they did. So I was like, oh my God. So I'm like trying to hurry up and sculpt the whole Chucky body. And then there was people who were like also like giving me so much grief, like they were, you use this person's body, or you use this person's hands, or you use this person's this. I'm like, I will show you. Thank God I took pictures of me making these pieces, and that was why it was just so shitty for me, because I sculpted every single tread on the bottom of her boots. I will say it a million times because it is so meticulous, dude. I mean, like, I did her, like, those boots are like a work of art. I am so proud of myself for that. I am. The threads around the whole, where the leather meets the rubber. And then I had to do, the right shoe. So like the exact same thing. And I mean, everything we did, we worked so hard on. And I was sculpting Tiffany's for 5 years before that. That's how I met, the guy, the guy who connected us to NECA. That's how I met, well, I don't remember when I met Dawn, but like, I think I was doing the Jennifer Tilly voice on Ellen. But like I met Dawn, I met a bunch of these Chucky people, and they were all like amazing people, but there were those few that were like, well, what's this? What's this? And I'm like, I have receipts. I always bring my receipts. So again, like the hate that comes from other companies. When Mike and I first did it, when we first signed up with it, I was getting a lot of negative comments from Trick or Treat Studios, and I think his name was Chris. He was like putting me on blast on Facebook, saying like, this isn't like we're going to be doing Bride II. We're going to be using Kevin Yeager's molds, and it was like, okay, good for you. Why? What does that have to do with me? But like, I again, like it was
Sounds like
we got,
envy, just letting you know. It sounds like envy.
dude, we got shit. I mean, shit on by a lot of people. There was a lot good. There was a lot of good that came from it, but there was a lot of like, I don't like the cutthroat industry like that. I don't like that.
Yeah, so for one thing that you guys definitely were supposed to get and didn't quite get was credit on the box. And so that didn't happen. And
Right.
it gave you a deposit to give them for them to be able to mass produce it. So am I getting this right? Were you supposed to like give them like basically a basic sculpt for them to use that to remake the product at a mass produced scale? Is that how that
They
works?
wanted they wanted a mold master and a paint master. I think that's what's called, a mold master. They wanted
A
one Tiffany.
masterpiece for them to remake the pieces?
You're right, to make a mold of, and then to send to China or something, I think. Like for China to have their molds made or something. And then the paint masters, which are those same pieces but painted, so that the artists that are going to be painting them or looking at them know what it should. The eye
Mm-hmm.
color is this, or the makeup's
Okay.
this. And so we sent those out, and then the hands and the boots and like the bodies, and then there was a point where we had to use their molding facility, which Randy offered early on in the process. And so we actually had to send the actual clay Tiffany body sculpture and Chucky body sculpture in the mail to them to use their molding facility. So just I bring that up because there was an instance that made me feel guilty when they said something like they overpaid us. In the email, the attorney said something like that, like they overpaid us. And I was trying to figure out what that even meant. And I didn't, I wasn't going to respond with too much.
So
But
aside from that deposit, you guys weren't paid, right? Or were you?
apart from that, I mean, like whatever they want to say that covered, I wasn't even fighting for anything more. That was what we asked for of them, and they gave us that amount, or around that, whatever it was.
Okay, so yeah, so what I'm getting at is that they didn't give you the one thing that was most important to you guys. They gave you a basic one-time payoff to get what they wanted, which has made them millions of dollars.
Right? They gave us
They call it a deposit in the email.
I don't know the lingo.
Doesn't
I don't know
deposit
what you believe.
imply deposit implies like, okay, this is a deposit isn't a final payment. That
That's just
sounds
what the
like
email
something to get the
says.
ball rolling. And
I'm just not making any assumptions on their part. I just want, because like I know like NECA somebody might hear this or see this, and I want them to know exactly. I'm always straightforward with what's going on and what I need and what I'm asking for. Like I don't play the road to try to like scrape a little money on off of people's shoes or something. This is like, we'll make our money one day. I could give a shit. The point is what was promised in those emails and what wasn't delivered, and it was a big
right.
deal.
So here's what I'm getting at.
Sorry.
I think for them to not give you the thing that's most important to you and to also leave payment at the one-time deposit that they gave you to get the ball rolling, I feel like that's immoral in itself. I feel like even if like they haven't sent you a contract, and that's what would probably save them in their eyes, is that
Right.
we did pay you and we don't have to pay you anything more. We don't even have to compensate you for how much money we made off of this because there's no contract. That's how I process it in my mind, is like they like it's like crediting someone is a lousy issue when you think about it. It's ridiculous that they couldn't even give you that. Uh, and if I was in your position, if only the studio name got credited, Moody Pudding Studios, but I got at least compensated and was making money that wagered what they were making, I would have been able to let my precise name not being on the box. I would have been able to let that go. But the fact that they're hardly crediting you and not paying you properly, aside from that one payment to get things in order, that makes them look bad in my eyes on both ends.
It's
Because
also they also didn't put I mean, even in putting our company name down, they didn't list it as sculpted. You know what I mean? It just literally says prototypes. So like we were not even our company's not even being credited for the right stuff.
exactly.
It's the only thing that they asked for.
It's just
was the credit.
it's just ridiculous. Yeah.
I feel like I feel like they might have gotten a vibe from you two. I feel like they might have gotten a certain maybe do you think it's possible that they did this to you guys because they felt like they could? Because they feel like there was a level of being naive and all that and
Yeah.
that opened the door for it?
Eric is agoraphobic. He has anxiety leaving the house, and he did this all from his bedroom, and it's
I mean, that's what you do. You know, necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
So I couldn't leave the house. So what do? I try to do voices, or I try to sculpt dolls, or I try to, that's what you do. You try to do what you utilize what you have in your own prison.
yeah.
You know. And so that yeah, this project came from a very personal place. But we'll get there. There'll be a resolution some way, shape, or form. But I don't think it's going to be what I am expecting or we're
Might not be
expecting.
ideal. It might require a
Yeah.
fight. It might have to get worse a bit before it gets better. It's gonna go in twisted ways before a resolution is reached because that's usually how these things pan out, unfortunately. So let me ask you this. If NECA was to come clean about this misunderstanding, if they were to well, no, I mean not misunderstanding, pardon me, they know what they're doing, to be honest, if you ask me. Uh if they were to come clean and be clear about what's going on, uh and if there is a misunderstanding, which I don't think there is, establish that being the case instead of fighting you guys for being honest about your experience, uh and come to a disclosed or undisclosed agreement with you, would you guys be willing to have that conversation with them and for them to make it right? And what does that look like for you guys, if so?
God, I can't even like picture it, but I know that it wasn't a misunderstanding.
Right.
The reason I know that is because I've emailed them and they didn't, it's like I was trying to keep information flowing and they would kill that flow. So if there was any misinformation or misunderstandings to be had, again, the onus is on them because I was trying to communicate with them over and over. So you can't call that a misunderstanding, so I think I
Right.
kind of agree with that. I do because I tried.
So the question was, if they were to come clean, and have that conversation with you to try to make things right, and try to fix things for restitution, uh, would you still be willing to have that conversation with them, uh, or has this already gone down the route where it's like it's gonna have to be a legal battle, it's gonna have to go a certain route in order to see an end to this?
I feel like they have the steering wheel in this because we've been trying to email them since March and no response from them.
March.
And so the first time they responded was the cease and desist. So
This was since March after
Yeah.
the box situation.
yeah, once we saw that he wasn't credited for the sculpt, they agreed on it. It's kind of heartbreaking to tell him.
It's just it brought me down. Well, yes, I mean I would be open to talking with them about that and clearing things up. Of course, I mean, that is my point. I am a reasonable human being. I am not going to be that example. You know, I'm a reasonable person.
Basically, if
I
they were to talk to you, this would be 100 times easier. This would basically probably be resolved by now if they just
Right.
reach back out to you like you've been doing.
Instead of sending,
Yeah, I mean it's like anything else. Like parents getting divorced, they're not going to talk to each other, even though like things would just go smoothly. It's always the same. There's just people just can't work together, you know, like, to make something.
people are like, why are you guys even promoting the dolls? And it's like, well, Eric worked hard on these dolls. Just because the collaboration's gone a little sour in places doesn't mean that you don't want people to buy the product.
Right. I mean,
It's still an
NECA's
accomplishment. It's still an accomplishment
right.
to see people all over the Chucky Reddit showing
It's
off these
still a piece
dolls.
of it's still a piece of Moody Pudding in people's homes, regardless.
Yeah, I mean, NECA was like, it's a reputable company as far as you know, I knew or whatever, and we were so excited to do it that we did it. You know, here we are. That's how much I was a NECA fan. You know, I am. But I didn't bring this to my door. This happened. You know, so it's like, come on over and let's work it out. Of course, you know, of course, I'd love that. I messaged them during COVID. It was one of my unreceived emails. Or I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Asking them, you know, since there was nothing going on, if there was any other future projects that they might be interested in me starting for them, or anything that they need further that I can do while I'm, you know, at home. And I never got anything back from that either, you know. And it's just like, okay, so if it's all business, then that's what they're telling us. It's all business now, and it's all legal now. Now it's no, you know, there's no emails, and because everything's said and done. So now it's like, all right, well, the party's gone and I have to sweep up all the red cups, and you know, but I still have to prove that they left it a mess, but I still need to live in it. So I just, you know, it just gets in your head. Gets in your head.
Yeah, 100%. Should they reach back out to you, which they should, what can they do to make this right? Is that a simple public statement? Like a one post acknowledging that these are the individuals responsible, more elaborately of who was behind the dolls we released? Is that putting you guys on the box going forward and that post, or would that also include properly paying you for the labor? Aside of basically, what does that look like when they reach back out to you? What would you like to see happen? What would make you happy?
I'm not 100% sure on that yet.
That's fine.
Because the damage is done. That's the only thing.
Right.
I'm not waiting. I'm not riding this like, you know, like all the way to the Supreme Court. But what I am saying is I'm not them. I don't have like, you know, a very comfortable life to go home to because a deal didn't work out today. You know, the boxes have been sent out. Those dolls are out. You know, what do you do? I don't know. I mean, what do you do?
We're finding out.
I don't know.
By sharing a story.
You know, it's like we were watching Fargo, you know, earlier or whatever, or we watched it yesterday and then finished it today. I've seen it before, but it was funny because he's like, you know, we're splitting that car, and he goes, "How do you split a car with a chainsaw?" Yeah, exactly. Like, what do you do? It's weird. So like, it would need that. That would probably need to be up to somebody who knows what is in the best interest for both parties, because I'm not that person. I mean, I was already like, this has already happened, so like I don't want it to happen again. I don't want to be so stupid and feeble or naive that this happens again to me now.
Well, the next
You know.
time, if it does happen, you don't listen to them when they say continue working and we'll send you the contract, we promise.
Yeah, you have the
Right.
experience
Don't-
now to be like, well, that's a red flag
No.
that I experienced with NECA.
Right.
You have
Well-
now. I think now will be much harder to happen. It's like, I think it's the famous quote, was it Bill Clinton that said it, you get fooled, you can't get fooled again.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that was because it was, yeah, it is. It was in emails. The only reason we felt okay to keep going is because Randy told us to. Legitimately said that. Work for hire agreement. I know I owe you that work for hire agreement. Legal is backlogged. Keep working. I promise we'll do this. Something along those lines. How is that? What would you do? What would you do? You just got this deal, you know. You're nervous, you're excited.
You're a nobody.
And somebody says to you, I don't have a contract for you yet, but I promise we're doing this. And it's NECA, you know, or just think of a company that you know to be very prominent and big, and you love them, and they're doing, you know.
Yeah,
So it's
I
like,
feel like the opportunity was, I agree, the opportunity itself was too big to worry so much about something as little as a contract that you were certain that you were going to get at the time.
he promised it 3 different times, yeah. So we thought it was gonna happen. We were like, this is NECA, they're not gonna do that. They're a huge company. Why would they do that? They wouldn't.
And the thing
And it happened,
that's
they did
not
it.
fair is when you are doing a deal like this, you have the agreement and then you pass it over to the artist and the artist see it. He didn't get the chance to be like, well, no, I don't like that, so I don't agree on it. So he didn't get that. He didn't get that option to be like, this is what I need.
It was like, it's just, yeah, it just comes down to like those emails and everything that can be seen now from that time. It's the whole point of going to court, or, you know, whatever it is. You need irrefutable evidence of something that happened that you can prove. Everything we've ever said, excuse me, on our website, Instagram, whatever it is, has all been fact-based information. Things that we are going through and
I
things that
agree,
we
for sure.
yeah.
And it's good to share your story because like people are going through the same thing and you can find people you can relate to, and then that sparks a friendship.
And you start to build this wonderful collaboration with people that help you to fight through your bigger battles.
Right.
And they're the people that were, you know, questioning how much the price was on a baby Gigi. you know, and it's
Yeah,
just like,
all the
boom.
cards on the table, and whether it works out between you and NECA or not, it'll definitely work out for you guys because you guys are gonna keep going and do what you love to do in spite of what's going on now, because it will become a past thing, and
Right.
at least you'll be able to say that you didn't lie to anyone, you didn't deceive anyone, but
Right.
NECA did, and NECA has to live with that. And they could live a lot better with it they uh if they had the dignity to address it properly instead of just telling you to instead of telling you to silence yourself and cease and desist anything you've said about what's happened here. Um, it's just guilty behavior either way it goes. Like, I
Right.
understand the
Like,
image
that
thing,
way.
but it's like you have tried to email them, so like this is the next step. We're gonna talk about it in public so people can be aware of what's going on. Um, and so why not have that conversation? Why leave it at a cease and desist? Uh, so that's any rationally thinking person can see this for what it is, to be honest. So
I hope,
I had
right?
more questions, but you answered 2 of them already. Next one would have been, how do you believe NECA neglected that agreement? But you already answered that. How did things wind up going as opposed to what was planned? And was there anything that left the door open to that? And we've basically gone over that. Uh, what was NECA's response to your public disclosing of the situation, and how did it cause you to react? Was there any irony or hypocrisy showed? We've gone over this through just you hashing it all out. Uh, is there anything you'd like to elaborate on with those 2 questions before I move on to the next one?
What was the last one you just read off? I'm so sorry.
What was NECA's response to your public disclosing of the situation, aka how did NECA respond to you making that first post about what's going on, how you weren't credited? Uh, and how did it cause you to react? Was there any irony or hypocrisy that showed?
I mean, the irony, I don't know if it's so much irony, but I think it shows it's kind of like, who's the injured party, you know? Really.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah, we're doing it. We're no matter what happens, we're gonna do everything in our power to get orders out when they need to go out, raise this company to the point where it opens up opportunities for other artists. I can't run something myself. We don't want to run something by ourselves. We want to open up this company and, blast it into the world, into existence, create an entity of it, and have people like-minded artists, like just keeping it growing. And I don't know how anything can die in this world if there's people enough passion and love behind it. And that's all I want, I don't know what people do with their companies, with the dress codes or, in-house projects or shit like that. But I do know that there are talented people out there that don't have opportunities, that can't get people to see their work, that I want to be able to utilize that on a bigger platform for them, and one day, I don't know, we kind of can already do that in some form, but not to the degree that it could help, change lives, and that's what we want to do. And we want to change our lives, of course, but
And
this stuff has
any
become so
prop
much more.
makers out there who can relate to Eric and Mark here, their Instagram will be in the description, their website will be in the description. If you want to reach out to them, I believe it was Mark that said it earlier that uh they love to connect with people. And
Absolutely.
as you can tell by what was just said there, this is what they would like to do. And even in spite of like what's going on now, uh, strength in numbers, strength in, you know, wonderful things happen when we all work together and collaborate
Yeah.
together.
Yes.
So, the door's open. Door's open. Uh, and yeah, I agree. You hit the nail on the head with that one sentence is who's the injured party? You guys. And usually you use a cease and desist when you're the one that's injured or could be injured. And it sounds like NECA is feeling attacked almost. This is usually what the cease and desist is for. Uh, and yeah, basically it's like they did this as though they're as if you guys doing them a disservice by speaking out about what's going on. Uh, because and maybe that is the case, but if they're doing the right thing, if they've done right by you guys, then this wouldn't be happening.
Right. I mean, they would have. Why wouldn't you just take us to court? Sue us now if we're defamation. If we're shit. What is it that I had that again, what have I said that isn't true? Take me to court. Again, like I can't stop anyone from doing that, but what I can show you is irrefutable things that were written or signed, or whatever, digital signatures and stuff like that. But
And we're allowed to post our journey. That's what everyone's doing on social media these days, is posting their journey.
yeah, it's just like it's
And
just weird. Like going back,
that's whether it's true or not. And you guys happen to be telling the truth.
it's just yeah. I
We have
mean,
receipts.
if
Sorry, my throat's.
if I don't know. It's there's so much to it with just this one thing. There's so many like arms and I get we talk about it every day. We do every day. This is a huge impeding deal in our livelihood. It is, and this isn't something that I can just say, well, let's put a stop to it. Let's just not pursue this. How can you sleep? How could you sleep if you worked that hard on something? I mean, like, I wouldn't want to live with myself. Like, I just, I don't know. That was just, yeah.
So it sounds like NECA is concerned with the court of public opinion. Like there's going to be people who see your story, see the company, and that can affect them in that way. Uh, and that's part of why it's important to tell your story anyway, because you want people to know about what's going on. You don't want to be told to nope, take down
Well,
any
what?
posts, keep our names out,
Yeah.
in such an inflammatory way. And however, on the flip side, I imagine there may be people who for some reason don't see things the way you do and actually take NECA's side. So my next question is, are there any rumors you'd like to debunk, misconceptions you'd like to clarify the truth behind, or any absent but useful information you'd like to shed light on?
Ooh. I don't know if there's any. I hope there's not any rumors that I.
I would say the only thing is we're having a really hard time getting a machine that we need to help us make hollow casts.
A rotocaster, yeah.
A rotocaster.
That put us our business behind it.
We started a GoFundMe like way back, probably like in January, and it didn't really go anywhere. But
Links to that will be in the description.
During that time, that was part of our move.
Right.
That was like, I don't know if I already listed that on here, but like our another court situation, which was just like the universe saying, "Yeah, ready, I guess." I have no idea. But our house where we lived with our friend, she moved out, met somebody, and then we were just renting it off of her, and it was just like, again, no contract. Rent is, this is your guy's house as long as you need it. So we're just like, okay, cool. We're just paying what needs to be paid and pay you or whatever, and that's how it rolls. She wanted to sell it, so we were like, okay, well, now we're looking for all these places to move. We're trying to, spend this money on these application fees, and she's putting these hard dates on us, and it's like, enough is enough. I can't do this anymore. Enough is enough. So we go to she sues us. We go to court, and I put a case together that I was like, I will not let anyone ruin my reputation. That's disgusting. You're gonna take me to court? Me. Like, I don't do things like that to people. I don't do things to go to court. I just don't. But I'm learning what happens in your adult life when you partner with people that you either don't fully know or don't fully trust or can't get an actual agreement down. And so, that screwed our rotocaster journey. And then we had to move, and then moving into this NECA, the ongoing thing.
It's delay. It's causing a lot of delays on our end.
Right. So we're just trying to like push through everything. Like this is not going to stop us. We will not stop until we get where we need to be. I'm sorry.
It's really hard some days to like keep going, but everyone on Instagram like always helps cheer me up. I have a couple people I talk to every single freaking day from Instagram. I talk to them more than I do my family and friends now. It's like, it's weird, but like, I love it. These people are like, our people. They're like-minded and they understand a bloody baby isn't weird. Well, it's weird, but it's fun. They get it. Like-minded.
Just to clarify, viewers, we're talking about the baby Glen product. I think what intrigues me about the product is that it's something you wouldn't expect someone to have.
This one's a custom one. It's just light blood, but you can see.
Yeah, that's incredible. Like, people wouldn't expect for someone to have that. Like, everyone wants a Chucky doll, everyone wants a Tiffany doll, everyone wants a Glen doll even.
This doll is only in Bride of Chucky for like literally 10 seconds. I'm not even joking. That's the only screen time they get. And so like Iric wanted to make something from Bride of Chucky that is not really made. You don't see many baby Glens out there.
Exactly. I would never have thought that could be something that you could have.
Same.
And that's why I think you guys are onto something with that. And with that mindset, like, imagine what else you'd come up with. Yeah, I definitely look forward to giving a review of that on my channel when you guys are able to get that done.
Yep. Yeah. I'm excited to give you the promo for sure.
What's been the most hurtful or disappointing thing about this experience with NECA?
Probably just like as soon as I saw his name wasn't on the box and he didn't even get the credit he asked for, it like broke my heart. Like, I don't even know.
Can I pause you for a moment?
Yeah.
I want to shed light on this, viewers. So I was more concerned about how much they're getting paid for all the work they did than they are. Like they keep talking about, they want the acknowledgement. That's what's important to them, the acknowledgement. They were asked how they want to be credited, and they answered. Uh, and and they didn't even get that. That was what mattered to them, and they didn't get it. Uh, so yes, you could say that I'm onto something with about they should have been potentially been paid more, uh, or at least have gotten. You guys aren't getting royalties either.
No,
Yeah, I
no.
think it would be appropriate to at least pay you guys royalty.
Right, that would also be in the agreement that they never said. If
I
it wasn't
Right.
in there, we would be like, well, there needs to be
Contract or no
royalties in
contract, that
there.
would have been it would have behooved them to at least give you guys that. So,
I mean, what's 5%?
I have no idea what percentages are right
well,
for it, but
compared to what, I mean, the dolls are designed by you guys essentially,
Well,
right? So
on the box it says that the product developer is the design.
interesting.
yeah, for some reason we're not.
I thought they were designed after the
The only credit we got out of this project on that box says prototypes, Moody Pudding Studios.
As in, you guys made the first edition of the doll, and that they made the rest after
They
that.
did everything else, I guess.
He sends in sculpts, patterns, wig samples, teeth.
But essentially, you guys designed the dolls.
That's what
I don't want to say the terminology. I'm scared to death of saying the wrong
Right.
thing. I don't want to say like I don't want to take credit for anything I shouldn't. I don't want to not take credit for the things that I should. Like I just
Okay, well, let me go off of what I heard you say
yeah.
earlier. So you made the hands, you made like the boots for Tiffany or whatever. You made, okay, let's say Chucky's face.
Sculpt.
Yeah, the head, yeah. Full head sculpt.
Yeah. So and the wigging. So like
And then Tiffany's body, arms, hands,
okay,
Chucky's
exactly. So
body.
the dolls are made by you guys, and NECA is basically saying we're gonna recreate this product that you made and make all the money. And I definitely believe that there's definitely more money in there for you guys than what you got. That's what I'm saying.
They're doing a second run, which is amazing. We love that they're doing a second run.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
it's now turned into a multi-million-dollar collaboration, not just $1 million collaboration. And it's just not fair for the person responsible for it all gets weaseled out.
I mean,
basically.
Yeah, I think that was my answer to it too, though, was the most devastating part of the project is the box situation.
Right. The person that was supposed to. Right.
No, that was like the lasting, that's the lasting thing. It's always there. It's the name. It's the, you know what I mean? It's there
Right.
forever.
So yeah, I think that I want to stress out for the viewers that the fact that the names is what's more important to you guys says a lot. They're not after greed. They're not looking to take a company down over this. They just want their acknowledgement and proper credit. And I think that people need to use. I haven't personally seen any rumors or anything like that. Uh, but I know that people tend to find ways to see things a certain way. Uh, and that's what influenced me to ask that question. So I wasn't sure if you guys had seen anything like any disputes on your story. But that's what I wanted to ask that because I know that that's how the internet is. But in the event that there are people out there who haven't been positive about Moody Pudding Studios in the situation, I challenge them to use critical thinking. You know, I've pointed things out myself about how NECA responded to certain things, how NECA could clearly like detect, um, maybe they saw that this is something they could do with you guys in particular for whatever personal reason. So I think use critical thinking essentially, and before we get into the whole what if they aren't telling the truth, because I know that the internet always does that with basically anyone who tells the truth about anything. Um, so yeah, moving on to the next question. In light of NECA's inability to respond at times and have dialogues so that things can be better understood or prevented, which I've also experienced from them, if there was something you could say to them, especially the people who ran point on this business collaboration that didn't go so well for you as the ones who did the work, what would you say? Let's assume they're listening. What would you like to say to them?
I know what I would say, but I wasn't. The collaboration with NECA was before me, so I don't say
Yeah, I was gonna
anything.
say let's have Eric go and
Yeah,
then we'll have
so it's
Mark
on
go.
him.
I mean, what do you tell somebody who's already done that, shitty thing, like that they're not already aware of? They're just upset that they were like caught or, you know, called out. It's like they're not gonna give a shit. Nobody was gonna care what I have to say. It's just, again, like I could speak for my ex partner, Mychal Vens, who isn't a part of Moody, and then therefore there's just zero credit there. That could be my case too, though. Like, I mean, people who know Moody know me because I started it and everything, but like, if you don't know the correlation, then you don't know what Moody Pudding Studios is. You don't know, like why isn't there a name? It's so weird. It's just the weirdest thing. I've never seen anything like it. Which leads me to believe that I'm the first one that, was waiting for that email, or that work for hire agreement or whatever, however you want to call it, over and over. It's that stupid thing where it's like, if you're good, I'll give you a sucker. If you're still good, I'll give you another sucker. But like nothing ever happens. Like it's just like you're still waiting. You're like, well, I've been good this long, I still didn't get one.
They were sold out.
But it's like so I don't know. I don't know. I would say that it was just a shitty situation because of the the absence of communication. That I just don't understand that part. I don't know why no one's there to respond to somebody who just sculpted these pieces for this company. Like, why is there nobody responding? It's so weird. And I've retweeted people. Like I think Blaine from NECA, about the NECA Dolls success, and I retweeted that tweet or whatever. I forget, I don't even remember what it was, but it was like, oh yeah, he worked on these dolls too. I want to congratulate him and retweet that. Nothing came of that. Like I didn't hear back from him. I didn't hear. No one from that company talks to me. So where is that going to make you? Where's that going to lead somebody to believe? Like to think about? You know what I mean? Like you're gonna think you're ousted, that you're blacklisted, or you're gonna think that. What else would you think? Why else aren't there emails coming in? Why else aren't there people saying, oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. Well, what was it? Or or even an FU. But I didn't get anything. So except from that attorney. But I don't know. I guess I would just say it was it's very ham-handed handled. Yeah.
What about you, Mark? What would you say on Eric's behalf or for yourself?
Well, the collaboration with NECA was before me. It just sucks having to watch my husband deal with it, not only mentally, but like just all around. I have to watch him. No one else gets to because he doesn't leave the house. So it's frustrating for me to have to like see my husband's dream of seeing his name on a box that's been mass produced just like come to fruition, but not follow through. That's worded correctly.
It's like
yeah.
It feels like everyone took the ripe fruit and left behind like there's like
yeah.
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna
fight as hard as you can?
I'm just gonna keep talking.
I mean, we are next to like posting the emails, posting the cease and desist. Like what are we supposed to do? I mean, like I don't want people to think we're just not telling our side correctly. Like I want to have all those receipts, but I also don't want to come off like we're just trying to be so airing out our dirty laundry.
Yeah, we don't want that.
But like at the same time,
You have
what are we supposed like? Like, what do you
Yeah,
got?
yeah. So I want to address something that you said. You said I don't know why they wouldn't just reach back out, something along those lines. And I think they knew exactly what they were doing, to put it simply. I don't think they wanted there to be a contract. I don't think they wanted there to be an agreement. I don't think they wanted uh for you to have a
have that
stake.
edit.
They didn't
Right.
want you to have a stake where they'll have to continuously always owe you money for the collaboration. I don't know if they saw saw someone vulnerable that they could do this to. I didn't experience things from start to finish, so I don't know if I can speak to that. But I think that's a huge possibility. Uh, you can usually see victim or this isn't a word, but victimizable ability on someone. Um, and I think that might have been part of it. Uh, and they saw that they could do this. I strongly doubt that their company is built on doing this to anyone else who's ever not been in-house for them. Um, and
Right. Or they
uh
just too scared to come forward.
yeah, and I'm also wondering if that's the case. And
Yeah.
that's why I say I don't think it's strongly built on that. I think I think they've had to have done in-house before. Um, because they have a lot of products that they've released and are continuously releasing.
Mhm.
Uh,
And all the sculptors are credited on every single box except for this box for some reason.
yeah, yeah,
It's just weird. Why just this box?
Yeah, why would you take away the sculpting credit? Why would you
exactly,
take the words? It's weird. It's the first
exactly.
box I've ever seen.
That's why I think that this was a particular decision made for this particular scenario, and I think they thought it would go differently. I think they had a feeling that this would have been easier, and now it's looking like it's not going to be that easy to take advantage of someone like that. But I am wondering if they've also done something similar in the past, and I am wondering if this will encourage anyone else to come forward because uh you know the famous phrase, "It's my first time doing this. I've never done this before." 99% of the time, it's a lie. So I will keep my ears peeled for that. If I'm honest, I'll keep my ears open for that. Um, but here's what I would say to NECA. I'd say that you knew exactly what you were doing, and this is wrong, and that if you had just had the conversation with them, this wouldn't be happening. You wouldn't have to write a cease and desist letter. You wouldn't have to basically suggest that you're gonna take things further uh if they don't if they don't if they don't if they don't rat you out. Uh and the reason why you didn't have that conversation is because there was no conversation to be had on your end. That's not what you were trying to do. You weren't trying to come to an agreement. You weren't trying to uh get on the same page in a way that is fair to them and respectful to what they've put on your stands and the amount of money you've made because of it. That's that's why you're not having that conversation, and that shows what kind of company you are. And shame on you. Uh, and the fact that you know how easy it is to respond to an email and have a conversation, especially if there's money to be made, especially if there's
Mhm.
money to be made. And so yeah, I have.
But yeah, you know as well, and they do. Yeah, I mean, he answers emails all the time with possible clients or even supporters, and it's amazing. And so like that can change a person's life or be a big deal. And
Yeah,
for somebody like NECA who already knew me was a big insult.
yeah.
Not
Obviously, there's tiers to reaching out to people, and but some people have more priority than others. But when we're talking about this, putting a product on the shelves and And this is a big deal. Like they've had to do a second run of the product, so you guys definitely should have had priority communication anyway. So the fact that they're
Mhm.
not, it tells me all I need to know. So, NECA, it's that easy. It's that easy, NECA. Take accountability, make this right with them. But until then, and let's say there's a 0.01% chance that you have a stronger case than Moody Pudding Studios does. If that's the case, voice it. Like they're voicing their case. Voice it. So that we can at least know, okay, if these guys got something wrong, what did they get wrong? Why are you silent and why have you only done a cease and desist for them to not acknowledge the situation? And why are you still not communicating with them about it? So yeah, like you said earlier, Mark, the ball is in their court and they aren't doing anything with it. So shame on you, NECA. Uh, and you know the damage is already done, but you could still make this right if you're a good company and if you want to do the right thing. People who usually want to do the right thing and want things to be fair to everyone typically go that route because why wouldn't they if it doesn't involve defiling someone. uh so that's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's strange because I thought there'd be like an ongoing thing, like, oh, if you like my work, then you'll probably like it down the road too. But it was very obvious that this was like, no, we want you for this, and then that's it. Like, because it's a very cold process. I mean, like I said, I didn't get any of the updates. I was sent the updates from a friend who worked on it, who was on the box and stuff, but I received visual updates through them, and then they told me not to share it or show anyone. The sculptor, like I'm seeing updates last, so or as they come out. So like yeah, it was just a cold the whole way. It was just felt really like just like brash, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
Hmm.
It just felt like that. And I was just trying to tell myself like, no, this is gonna be a collaboration. Like they like your work. Like no. And I don't know why you would like, if you hired me, then why would you shoot your prize cow, so to speak? If you wanted my work, why wouldn't you sort of like pacify me enough to be, to work with you in the future? I just assumed like I was that fool that was going to be doing that stuff. Like, oh, you might like more than I had, than just this, because Randy mentioned liking like the Crypt Keeper that I was working on, or he mentioned liking something else about something.
My bad.
So it was just like we would have these conversations, and then they liked my work, but at the same time, it was like, well, we like your work, but we don't like you, or we like your work, but we don't want anyone to know you do it, or we like your work, but we want people. I don't. What the hell are they even saying? You know what I mean? Like, so,
It's
but
very complicated.
it's like again, we could circle back. It'll always come back to this for some reason because it's so prevalent and heavy. It's so weird and big and
Yeah.
effective. Yeah.
And you're obviously quite talented. Making a tricky doll is one thing because it's something that's been made before. Uh, but not only that, you guys are able to make it at a professional level. It's point where a company saw it and were like, yes, we want to retail this essentially. And then making, the baby Glen doll. Uh, there's obviously probably much less references for that. You probably had to wing it in a sense. Am I right?
I got really lucky because again, people in those communities, they knew me because probably from sculpting Tiffany's for like 6 years before the NECA thing happened. I just kept trying to improve it, make it better. I sold one Tiffany, the first one I ever made, it was all one piece. It was one piece doll. The mold was huge. And I sold that to I think somebody in Turkey or something.
Right.
Well, I don't know if they want mentioned.
Wow. That didn't mention the whole name.
So but yeah, so like that was so these people in the community knew me for a long time already, and I did Jennifer Tilly. They saw on Ellen my impression of Jennifer Tilly, so these honestly, like, and I was already friends with Don, so like on Facebook. So, and we would chat about stuff, doing voices or something, and his work that he did with Tales from the Crypt back in the day, which I was fascinated with, but I don't know if a lot of people know what Tales from the Crypt is anymore. Well, they do now. I've seen the Crypt Keeper just came out, which is weird. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. I digress. Wow. But yeah, so like a lot of people in the community knew me. So when this NECA thing came out, this like the whole NECA deal thing, it was just like, okay, yeah, this seems right. And most people knew we were working for them. They didn't get to see what it was gonna look like, and I wouldn't share that stuff. But what I would tell people is, yeah, we're working on, we're sculpting new pieces, and they're gonna look really great, and I'm excited, blah, blah. And so like I feel like they already knew we were totally responsible for these. Like the community knew what we were capable of and what we do, and it was Tiffany after Tiffany after Tiffany after Tiffany, and then Chucky. I made a Chucky out of the blue, and people love that too, and so that became the prototype that they showed off at San Diego Comic-Con, the Tiffany and Chucky. And then we made new sculpts for NECA after that. It's just like, it's to not be credited so much in the same lane, it just feels really weird,
And I understand that they've mentioned you by name on maybe certain websites and all that, but
Mhm.
you know, you deserve a spot on the box. I hope they don't make the argument that they did credit you because they heard you here. No, you deserve to be on the box as well, and that's what you were asked. Like, how would you like to be credited?
If his work is inside the box, he should be credited for the work inside the box. But
Exactly.
he's not credited for his work inside the box, because if you take his sculpt away, what's left? Just hair and clothes. And
Well, again, I mean, if you think about it, like from a legal standpoint, what it is it's yeah, they put names online, but not on the box so that they could say they credited me. But I don't know way around that, because the email said how we wanted to be credited. And they specifically asked us how, say exactly how do you guys want to be credited, blah, 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 blah. So we put it. Anything other than that is incorrect, because that was agreed on in emails. So again,
So
like,
so even just by naming the company and saying y'all did prototypes, even that's going against that.
like
technically,
like
yeah.
put down, we put prototypes, but then leave sculptor there. You don't have to take sculptor away, but they chose to.
Exactly.
It's not on there. So what is that? What's with that? They credit me on these websites, but then they don't credit me on the box, and they also remove one of the most important parts. Who sculpted the thing? It's not even there. So it's like, what is going on? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I can't help but to get passionate
No, you're
about this
good. You're
topic.
good. So yeah, what I was saying was, you're obviously very talented to
Thank
do
you.
Tiffany, Chucky, and to also do something more original like Baby Glen. And you had a certain amount of faith in NECA originally. Like you wanted to you didn't want this to be your only gig with them. So imagine what could have happened, how much success there could have been if they treated you fairly, if they had this go very smoothly, honored their word, given you a contract, um, and then went from there. You could have
Mhm.
done more amazing things for them, and they could have made even more money potentially. This it didn't have to be just this. So, um, it just goes to show, like, the decisions we make says it all, to be honest. Uh, so, well, I'll let you speak.
No, I disagree with you. Eh, like, I don't want to. You end up feeling like a fool, but like, I
Yeah.
mean, that's what gave us the idea to treat Moody in such a way where, well, what did we learn from these things happening to people and what it would feel like, and it helped us to incorporate elements into our ideas, into our bowl of ideas for this company, for Moody. Again, like you really can find positives out of everything, but at the same time, there are things that I think are worth fighting for. You know what I mean?
There's also like another thing going on in the community, and that's Trick or Treat Studios. I believe they're no longer going to have their licensing for Chucky products, which means that they're doing one more run for the NECA doll, but also there's going to be no more Trick or Treat Studios Chucky dolls. And what's left is going to be Spencer's, but those aren't. I think it's generally agreed on that those are like the least favorite of the three. Uh, I mean, to be honest, I hardly count Spencer's. Uh, and so it's like if NECA also like honored their agreement, um, it could have continued to. Well, I guess they would have done whatever they want to do, regardless. But imagine if they were like the only doll left that you could get. That was a possibility. And it's like now the only option people have is to go to a custom maker. Like after these last two runs, that's it.
Right.
Um, so I wanted to ask, feel free to confirm or deny. Like, let's say that people were to go to you guys from here on out. They want to pay you full price for a custom doll, whether that's 4,000, 5,000. Would you guys be willing to take individual commissions, to get, Chucky and Tiffany dolls and Baby Glen into the hands of the people who really want them?
Yeah, we've been working on getting a rotocaster the past 6 months, and life has just been like beating down on us on the side. So it's been difficult to like, yeah, one thing after
Our
another.
goal is to be able to get people things that they want. I mean, anything, commission pieces. I don't care if you want Yoda, like whatever, I don't know, whatever it is, at the best of my ability, I love making these pieces, and then you can offer them through the company for more people who might want that one piece that was originally for that one person.
Yeah.
But
we're trying to get our rotocaster by February. I feel like we
That's
could
our goal,
have it
yeah.
by February. That's still a long way.
all these
away.
pieces need to be made a certain way, and
Mold keys
we-
are just failing left
we
and
start
right.
to waste silicone when we pour, and then the piece doesn't come out right.
Silicone's like $2.60 a gallon. It's crazy.
It's yeah, so it starts to get
Oh
like,
my.
okay, we gotta start doing this
Yeah.
smarter.
People who work with silicone call it liquid gold because like
Yeah, it is really.
if you spill 8 ounces of it, that's a lot.
It's just nerve-wracking, and you want to make sure everything looks good and pristine for the person, for the client and stuff, right? And it's painted nicely, and there's no like mold seam lines, and there always is with like the ones that we're trying to fix, and it's just we're
So-
trying to get there.
Yeah.
And we are getting there. It's
We
just
will.
God, it's just one kick in the butt after the other.
Yeah, so you heard it here, guys. There is going to be a shortage in Chucky dolls out there, or the accessibility to get them. It's not going to be as easy as it is now with Trick or Treat Studios and NECA. If you want a Chucky, Tiffany, or Baby Glen doll, or like Iric said, anything, reach out. And yeah, so. Yeah, I want you guys to have success regardless of what NECA does or doesn't do. And I have no doubt that you guys will continue to be successful. Because like I said, talent and you're working hard. So take it from me, you guys don't have anything to worry about. NECA, I don't know what they're gonna do. But they obviously have to live with something, whether they do the right thing or not. But you guys are still, uh, in your bright days, I would say, where like, how long has Moody Pudding Studios been going on? And you guys still have a lot of landmarks to hit. So
Mhm.
We've only been using Instagram for 1.5 years.
Yeah.
So we got a long way to go still.
Yeah. Um, and I want to say I appreciate all you guys do because, I don't understand. I'm not in that field, so I don't understand it nearly as much as well as you guys do. But it's obviously not a simple process. And like just to get prototypes made, just to get a basic sculpt, it's like you said, working with liquid gold and piece might not come out right. Uh, it's just a lot, and it's the whole getting it right thing.
Hmm.
So the fact that NECA didn't honor that even, or at least acknowledge that by doing right by you guys, um, says a lot. It really says a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it speaks volumes in many ways. What to do, what don't to do next time, what to keep fighting for, what to let go. I mean, that brought up so many, you know, mind stems with it come. There's so many things that come with it. Um, I think the biggest part about this is that we're trying to not let it defeat us, even like emotionally, because it had been for a while. It was like really, really digging at us. Because it works. If they want a scare tactic, they'll use it because they work. Most of the times they work. So, but we just because that the things that and that aren't legal that they're saying you can't do, you're allowed to do. It still doesn't make it any less. It doesn't feel any less like you're in trouble for something. And that gaslighting that they do is what bugs me. That's what gets me. It makes me feel, because that guilt, people play on your guilt and they make you feel like you did something wrong. And then you start to re-examine, oh, maybe that did happen. Maybe I didn't do. No, 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 because you could always prove emails, you can always prove documents, you can always prove whatever, you have in recording or whatever it is. But, and I could talk about it, but I could talk about it as much as I could talk about it until there's a resolution. Doesn't matter that I have all this unless the lawyer is interested. It doesn't matter that I have all this unless the judge rules in my favor. It doesn't matter that I have all this unless NECA just says this is wrong. What do we have to do to get to this resolution? So until we figure out, or until something happens, because I feel like we're at that standstill, like that purgatory. So something happens, it's like, oh, it's nerve-wracking, and you just have to, we just keep telling our story as we go. Every day until we get one of those dreaded NECA responses that they couldn't manage to do before, but they can do now. It's real quick to send an email now. I just don't understand what their angle is,
Mm-hmm. You want to add anything to that, Mark?
I think he said it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
It just sucks having to like watch someone like put their heart and soul in something and just slowly watch them like kind of drift away in a way, because like
Mm-hmm.
you put everything you had into this collaboration just to not even get credit for what's in the box, on the box, or his name on the box. Like that's someone's first accomplishment, someone's first big thing that they did in their life from their freaking bedroom, and it's like I think his name should be on the box.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm biased though because he's my husband, so it isn't. At the end of the day, it
You
just
can
makes
side.
me look like we're.
You can side with NECA if you want.
Nah. Yeah. Okay.
Well, like I said, any rationally thinking person wouldn't side with NECA, and it's like, yeah,
I'm glad we
there
have
may
the.
there may be a bias, but it's still a very reasonable position. Uh, as long as you can make that case, and like I said, you have the case, you have the receipts. NECA's made no case other than try to silence you guys. Uh, yeah, it's the picture has been painted. And NECA can only try to salvage what the situation is or continue to ignore it. Either way, they have to live with their actions.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever that means for them too. Because we were talking about this, and like I don't know how close they are in the NECA world, like Randy and those people, if like the president of the company even knows about the situation. Like I don't know about how high up or who's who or who did it,
Or who we contact,
But,
but we contact the product developer.
We have been trying. I mean, we are trying. We're doing everything we can. NECA thinks we're just bad mouthing them and trying to like get them to lose their business. We promote every post. We say something about them. We support NECA. We say NECA/X Moody Pudding, and we're constantly promoting them. So it would be really silly to say that they want us to take our posts down because they don't like that we are talking about what happened. That's
to you.
It's odd. Yeah. See, I get back on this track. It's the same track.
Any final thoughts you'd like to share?
I think our dog does, huh? Hold on, buddy.
I was gonna ask, do we have a third guest with us?
Right.
We do.
I think that wraps it for me. I'm so touched after a lot of this happened and Mark stepped on board and started to get into social media mode and do all this stuff. It all led us up to like talking with you and speaking with other people that not only want to hear what we have to say, but also support us.
Or could relate.
Or could relate, whatever it is.
Or
but
want to learn.
I'm grateful that I am in a position that where I can be heard and that I can also meet people that can lead to possible future collaborations in a way that I wouldn't have wanted, that I wish it would have gone that way for me, But seriously, thank you. You and other people are pulling me out of my comfort zones because I am a little agoraphobic and I don't like my face in front of the camera. Usually he's the one doing the videos.
Yeah.
I like, but it's important.
I try to get him in there every now and again.
But thank you for doing that. Thank you for pushing me in that direction too, to challenge me and to ask me things and to be interested at all. It's just, thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I find it hard to not care about things like this at times. And I know that it can be challenging having it can be challenging dealing with a company like that, who behaves in this way. And like I mentioned, I have experienced a lack of, replying from NECA. Just not in a scenario that's been nearly as important as this one. And in fact, when I heard back from their Instagram page one time, the person running the page didn't even know about a feature on the website. I asked them about, like the review request feature, and they're like, sorry, what? What is that? And I had to explain to them that there's a feature on their website that does this. And they were like, oh, well, I'm just a social media person. You might want to contact these people. So then I contact one division, reach out to their Instagram, a second division. Then I reach out to the third division that they told me to go to. Didn't hear back from them either. So
obstacle course.
Yeah, there's definitely something about I don't know if it's like a net and it doesn't and they're too divided to work together well for there to be good communication. But whether the case is, it's obviously not run in the best way possible. And I hope that they see this, and I hope that as many people as possible see this so that you guys can be heard and understood, and for there to be a resolution. Because I want the situation to end in a positive way. Uh, and it might not, but it will, at least the story is heard and that people can behave accordingly. I encourage you both to continue sharing your story and honestly rinse and repeat. Don't let anyone tell you to not tell your story. It's also not like it's vague or open-ended. Like if you have receipts, um, and best case scenario, best case scenario, NECA does the right thing or tries their best to do the right thing, whatever that is at this point. Worst case scenario, they don't. Worst case scenario, they don't. And that's not a bad scenario either because you guys still have the talent. You guys will still put in the work to get where you need to be. And I myself and plenty of others will continue to root for you. So this isn't like Kyle said in Chelsea Too, it's not the end of the world.
No, I
Thank you.
appreciate that. You have no idea.
A lot of people have been here for us lately. A lot of like love pouring in, saying
Yeah.
thank you for making my childhood dreams come true. Like when people tell you those kind of things, it like just touches your heart.
It was really amazing. Again, like I can't underplay how amazing it's been. Like the people that he's brought in and talked to and spoken to, and including you and stuff. Like I mean, this is all like once you're aware of something, it's in your mind. You know, you can
Mm-hmm.
elaborate on that, or collaborate, or oh, let's do this again sometime, or whatever it is. But like, there's opportunities that come with it, and I don't know why anyone would want to shut that down for any point, for any reason, for any amount of money. It's weird. Harrison, lay down. There's so much to say now, don't you? But yeah, I don't know. It's just I just see a better way of it working in the future, a better system, and if that system isn't there yet, then let's make it exist. Let's make it there, and that's what we want to do with Moody. We want to make it that company that you apply for, or you work at, or you are happy to be there because it's just a different company. It's not credit's deserved where credit goes where it's deserved. You get your pedestal to stand up on, and when you have your moment. I just feel like individual focus is important because as much as we're made up of a bunch of us, we all have our own scope and perspective of the world, and that can be vastly different from 10 people, and it's that one person. So if I'm getting off topic, but
No, you're good. You're doing really good. Uh, I agree with everything you just said. So reminder of viewers, if you need anything made, like you said, it doesn't care if it's Yoda, uh, preferably Baby Yoda because he's very adorable, or should I say Grogu. Uh,
it's so cute.
reach out to Moody Pudding Studios on Instagram, or you can email them. And in the near future, I will be doing a product review of their baby Glen doll, as you've just seen. Uh, and I'll be able to show you guys, all the detail and just how sleek the product is. I really like it. It looks really good. So I look forward to getting my hands on that. Um, and another thing I want to stress out, because of what's going on with NECA and Trick or Treat Studios, there is going to be less accessibility to people who really want to get their hands on a, screen accurate Chucky doll, or Tiffany, of course. And so as they've put it, they are willing to take, you know, personal one-on-one commissions for those. So these are guys to go to for that as well. Um, and whether you're whether you're a previous customer of theirs, future customer of theirs now after watching this video, uh, I think it's safe to say that, we all wish you guys the best and we all stand with you and we all have the utmost faith in you guys, and we look forward to seeing what you do next.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate that. I can't tell you what this opportunity has done for us. It to be able to unload this story, and to share it.
It's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure, but it's a lot of release as well. And I thank you for that. Even if it's just
It ensures us we're not having to go through this alone.
yeah.
Likewise.
Because at the end of the day, it's just me and him running social media, filming the videos, making the products, shipping the products, the captions.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a lot.
We'll get
But
there.
we love it. We do it all day, every day. From the time I wake up, I'm on my phone, on Instagram, or on our messaging, and I do that. And then I'm making baby Glens, and then I edit the video together, and then I post it, and then I socialize with everyone.
Constantly
That's-
tweaking molds, trying to get
Yeah.
mold keys smoother, like everything. We do everything we can every day until
There was one time my screen time usage was at like 20 hours a day.
it's just, and that's a normal thing, like, because he'll wake up and then immediately go back to it. But we're like, okay, it's that thing where if we want to take this seriously, that's what you do. I'll sleep when I'm dead, but really, it does feel that way.
We were hoping NECA was going to bring us to a place where we would be able to get our Rotocaster and knock all these out, and expectations weren't met, and so we're trying to do it ourselves.
There was a lot with our move. I mean, everything it just all kind of dominoed, but everything is starting to come back up. The more you fight, the more you can produce change. And like, I have found that to be true. And my example was, like I said, with our landlord / friend at their last house, I treated that like like it was like a court battle of the year. Because I am not going to go in front of a judge and look like an idiot and then not have my facts in order. And if I have to do the same thing, again, like if the world and the universe is weathering us to be stronger in these bigger battles, then I'll let that happen. But that's my point. I want to be an example for that, for people, for people in these positions. Just don't back down when you know you're right. Don't.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody tell you not to say anything,
And when it gets hard, just keep going, because usually what happens is when it gets really hard, people tend to quit. But if you push through it, that's how you get to the other side. Is you have to somehow,
Eventually,
some way, you may go 2 days without eating, but some way you're gonna make it. You'll get there. It's just, don't stop.
Don't stop.
If you're obsessed with something and you love it and it's healthy for you to love it and be obsessed with, make it and then put it on Instagram and see what happens.
1000%. And yeah, that's another thing I wanted to remind the viewers of. If you guys would like to know how you can help Moody Pudding Studios, I will include the link to their fundraiser to help them with their Rotocaster in the description. If you want to contribute to that.
Thank you.
And I'll include pictures up on the screen. We see their talent. We know that, like, their Instagram story is like the story that I open the most. Like, I interact with their Instagram story the most out of all the people that I subscribe to. Follow on Instagram. And it never gets old seeing them make a Glen doll or share photos of, what they've done with Chucky and Tiffany. So
I don't know how many videos there are of me making baby Glen, but they're all different. I'll tell you that.
So many.
It's weird. They're all different, but there's so many baby Glen videos on our Instagram. It's not even funny.
yeah, and so I definitely encourage you all guys to help them out in any way that you can, even if that's just sharing this video and sending it to NECA. Because talent and hard work pays off, and that's basically what we're getting at here. NECA was a poisonous apple in the industry where it's like, okay, these guys obviously didn't want the talent and hard work to pay off for these two folks. And I don't know why they wouldn't want to do that if they're a good company, that is. Um,
I mean, if
so-
you're making millions, I mean, you should at least help the person responsible.
mhm. Exactly. And that's why I say that even the fact that they didn't properly uh pay you for for what was sold that you made, that yeah, that says a lot. Like, and crediting is one thing, but then when you combine those two factors, they didn't want to credit you or pay you more,
Or send the agreement.
or send, or at least have there be an exact agreement. Like
Right.
they didn't even want to give you a crappy deal on paper. They just didn't give you a deal at all.
I don't know why they took sculptor off the box. Too, like that, like there's just things that they did, you know what I mean? It's just little things too. It's weird.
It's odd.
It's just yeah.
So
yeah.
But it is what it is, and we're staying positive as much as possible.
And I think you guys, no matter what the future holds, you guys will definitely get through this and continue to do great things. And keep that in mind when it ever wears you down, or whenever you're reminded of, what's going on. Keep that in mind because, I believe it with every ounce of my being. I believe it. And there are plenty of other people who see it the same way.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
That's reassuring for sure.
Anywho, thank you so much, Mark and Eric, for coming on. Thank you for I'm really appreciative of everything you've done so far. I'm appreciative of you guys coming on and agreeing to have this conversation, have this dialogue, and I'm appreciative of you guys staying strong because this isn't an everyday experience at all. This isn't something that is hard to this is something that's easy to take when you're presented with it. So I understand there being pressure and stress, uh especially with the disadvantages and all that. Um so again, thank you. I'm really appreciative of it. I have no doubt in my mind that this won't be, NECA is a one-time thing. You guys are smarter, you guys are more knowledgeable, and Moody Pudding Studios will still be Moody Pudding Studios. And that's going to say a lot more in the next 5 years than it says now. And NECA will always be NECA until they uh decide to address the elephant in the room. And thank you, viewers, for making it to the end of this video. I know that's gonna be I knew it was gonna be a long video, but that's okay. Uh, and as I mentioned, all links will be in the description. Follow Moody Pudding Studios. Go to their website. Check out their products. Um, consider to their fundraiser. I really want them to get that Rotomaster, is it called?
Rotocaster.
Rotocaster, so that they can continue to, as they put it, in the words of others, make people's childhood dreams come true. Uh,
That's great to say.
and yeah, uh, and until next time, goodbye.